Weird. My stream deck appears to be broken. Probably in the software. Regardless, folks. That's a minor annoyance. Actually, that's a major annoyance, to be honest. Welcome back to Final Fantasy XI, just in time for October to be a problem. Please shut up, YouTube. Thank you. My audio is fine. Anyway, last time we left off, we finished up Treasures of Adartgan. Next is, if we're going in sequence, which we are, as they came out, would be Wings of the Goddess. I mentioned before, I'm not doing the epilogue of Treasures because that just doesn't work. This is an entirely different Rachnios, technically. The best way I can put it, this is a parallel timeline that splintered off rapidly. We can go with that as a explanation. But there's actually an interesting way that this entire expansion starts. And as we've wandered around the world, and we've done some Abyssia among other things, we've seen these giant things just kind of in the ground, as if they've been sunk into the ground, and they're not really that useful. They're kind of interesting because they're these giant maws, and they're called Atmoses. Oh yeah, Bleakwood, Bleak Light Falls. That's it. Yeah, that one definitely. I'm definitely looking forward to that one as that one continues development. It's got good potential to it. But now we actually have to find and seek out one of 3 of those. The most important thing is they're denoted by this symbol on the map. And they're just kind of dead Atmoses that have been dead, for lack of a better term, because they're just kind of dead. Moss and vines are growing on them. I'll show you once we get close to the one. And there's 3 we can get at, and there's slightly unique cutscenes depending on which one you go with. Yeah, these things. These are Atmoses. The upper right, that is one of the... That's one of the icons for specifically Wings of the Goddess. So it's a, oh gosh. It's the Final Fantasy artist. He did art for basically all of them. God, I know his name too, and now I'm blanking on it. That's what it is. It actually is. I actually have it on screen because that's where the ping rate is shown on Final Fantasy XI. But yeah, this is an Atmos, a seemingly dead one. Oh yeah, I saw the artworks of the RS2 characters. Oh, it's definitely of a similar era. He's drawn the art from Final Fantasy 1 through most of them. I think the last one he officially worked on was 10? But we lost the Nereids being full fish people. So we definitely lost something there. But yeah. This is one of the cavernous maws. All we have to do is approach it here, or in one of the other locations around Juno over here. The vines covering the cavernous maw shudder violently. It's probably so they didn't have to make a custom set of animations for them. Yeah. The 3D platforming and the custom animations is likely the reason. Huh. And so, we get consumed. Now, the thing about Atomoses, as we've seen with Abyssia in 11, they connect alternate worlds together as well. After all, Final Fantasy XI exists in a splinter timeline possibility. Time is not linear. Time is linear, but it can splinter. So awfully busy is spinning. Perhaps a trifle tired. The journey. Ah, so blue. Perhaps some help. Better? Even if there was one kindly soul to aid me in this endeavor, still. Oh? You deign to agree? Aha! Why stop at one person when it has two or perhaps even three? Hello? Was someone here? Hereabouts? Or am I jumping at shadows? We could. But then again, it also doesn't fit quite with the world of Vana'diel physically. Lysander! This is a key location in Juno's defenses. Don't you think we can take it easy when I'm not looking over your shoulder? Why don't you go ahead and chase all those beastmen off for me then? You make it sound a simple task. These are the fiends that bathe Winterst in blood and crush the royal knights of Sandoria. Don't whimper like a little girl, Carlyle. I have faith in your amazing luck on the battlefield. As we'll see through the story of Wings, it has a set of interesting histories. Captain Lysander, look, another of those monstrosities. So, we have a maw in Saramung Champagne now, too. How many of these things do we have confirmed? Well, sir, there's one in Rolandberry Fields, one in Batilia Downs, and now this one in Saramung Champagne. Alistair, aren't you forgetting the reports from our allies? You're quite correct, sir. Including the 3 Juno has confirmed, there have been 9 maws discovered in total, sir. You don't need to be so formal, son. This isn't the parade ground. Still, it's not a small amount, even if they are spread over 2 continents. Could this be the arrival of the Harbinger? You speak of the prophecy, sir? Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but something feels wrong to me. Rumors in Bastok say these maws are monsters set loose by the Beastmen. Maybe even the Kindred. They say the same in Windhurst. We are at war. It's natural for people to jump to conclusions. But the truth is we have no facts either way. We do not know. These things appeared right at the time when the Beastmen's forces suddenly grew in size. We do know. That can't be a coincidence. It's certainly worth looking into. Is that a person? This place wouldn't be my first choice for a nap time. You're not a Genoan soldier. State your name and regiment. At ease, Corporal. I don't think he bites. What happened, man? Did you hit your head or something? Altana only knows what you were doing out here. But you better head to the safety of town. Sergeant Barnabas, civilian entrance to Juno is currently restricted. That's right. If you walk straight south of here, you should come across the base of the Royal Knights are constructing. What's that fancy Elven name for it? Sergeant! Well, be careful wandering around the Saramung Champagne in any case. It isn't safe. On your way, civilian. Should we return to Juno and report, Captain? Yes. Archduke Calamont must be informed of the existence of this new maw. Now, we are in what is considered the Shadow Reign version of the universe. It will be explained, the game will explain it later. But it's basically, it functions similar. They're based on the original maps in Final Fantasy XI, but they've been remixed. The enemies are also of a higher difficulty level, as Wings of the Goddess was one of the first expansions, I believe that later level, that in later points was balanced around level 99 being a thing. But early on, it is still very, very dangerous to be here at low levels. Now, he suggested we go to the Garliage Citadel, mainly because I believe we're from Sandoria. We got shoved into the Sandoria cutscene, which was over here in the Champagne, as opposed to Batilda Downs, where we started. And there are, for the 3 city-states, there's one location for each. And really, it doesn't matter which of the city-states we go to for this bit. We're actually going to be heading towards the Bastok one, which is in the Eldamen Necropolis, which is going to require us to go over here to the Rolandberry Fields, and then from there to Batilda. But most importantly, we can see that this place has it's a lot of craters in the ground. And from where we normally come from, there aren't craters, and a lot of these big fortifications are kind of falling apart because it's been 25, 30 years. And so they've kind of fallen into disrepair since the war is over. You know, you stop maintaining your outer bulwarks when they stop being threatened. Like these big walls here. We'll see it more in definitely Batilda, and we might even see it in Rolandberry. Yeah, because most of these enemies in the modern world are like level 30. I believe these guys are at least level 60, if not 70. So it's very dangerous to be here wandering around if you're low level. And it looks like a campaign's going on, so campaigns are dynamic events, specific events involving people, and it looks like they've got it going on, but I don't have a reason to participate in this. Which they did update, I believe, campaign to now have rewards at maximum level cap of 99. That's specifically because we're in the Champagne. Once we get out of the Champagne, it's going to be a lot less sandy. A lot less sandy. Like, a lot of these outer defensive walls are just not fully intact anymore in the, modern world. Which makes for easier traversal, as we'll see once we get closer to Bastok. But since this is going on during the active wartime, things are funny going on. That's true. I forgot that the raptor does kind of look like a tauntaun. Oh yeah, I know about those. But would you have guessed that that area connects right here to Rolandberry Fields with the big rolling grasses? Now, we're coming here from the Champagne. I'm going to grab this Atomos over here, because Atomoses can't be used until they're activated. If we wanted to do the Windhurst option, They're down here. It's not shown on the map. Oh, yeah. And, here's a secret. Up over here... No, there won't be any Jar Jar. Up over here, and that direction from the Champagne, is a city. We'll probably see it. But if we wanted to go to Windhurst, we'd go down here, into a cave down there. It's called Crawler's Nest. It's where there's about 3 foot tall, about 6 feet long caterpillars. Final Fantasy's wild with what enemies they contain. Okay. We should be able to hit this Atomos really quickly. Right. I keep forgetting about this. This stupid... This gate straight up does not exist in the modern era. Not ones with man's heads. No. No, that would be something more you'd find in more Dragon Quest than anything else. That would be more Dragon Quest. Oh, why was it a thing? Yeah, you can see the wall is broken over here. That would make sense. That would make sense. He wasn't supposed to be the boss. Well, you're allowed to do that when you're remaking a game, so... But anyway, to Batilda Downs in the Necropolis we go. Which, Necropolis is a very, very interesting name. Like, we don't use that term nowadays. Oh. That's very interesting. Ah, so it was random in the original. Oh, that makes sense. And here we are in Batilda Downs. Batilda Downs. Battalia. Battalia. I will have to figure out how these things are actually pronounced, but this is Battalia Downs. That's where we started, was with this maw. And in these barrows. Specifically at J9. Somewhere. J9. J is here. 9 is here. So opposite the direction we're going. It says near the entrance. And one of these hills is going to be the entrance to the necropolis, I believe. I think it's this one. I think it's this one. No, it is not here. This is I9. That wasn't it. That's true. A lot of the designs were, in fact, very wild. They were very, very wild. Now if at K8. I always forget where this exact entrance is. That's true. Oh, a J10. Right, wrong reading. I read it incorrectly again. I thought it was in the south here, and I was right. We actually enter at J10. My bad. My bad. Because I thought we had to cross this giant... Oh, what's the way to put it? Spine? It's technically an energy conduit. Technically, these things are energy conduits, but... That requires me explaining a lot of the lore of 11, and... It's, complicated. Here we are. Into the necropolis we go. Kind of, yes. And it's awfully annoying that you have to cross it at several points. And specifically, we're looking for Turbulent Storm. There he is. Now, a necropolis is kind of similar to the catacombs of Paris. This is where you bring your dead. All of your dead. You lay them to rest here. In these... I wouldn't say coffins, it's more slabs than anything else. It's basically a giant crypt where everybody brings their dead. And as the body becomes bones... That's when you bring them to the giant bone pile and put them all together. It's very kind of weird. But this is also where you honor your dead with inscriptions and things of that nature. Oh, some of those can be very annoying. Now, we saw Turbulent Storm back there. He's kind of important, because we kind of need to go there. But more importantly, I'm going to talk to this person. Because, as with every expansion in 11, there have been jobs associated with it. This is one of them. I mean, I kind of want to unlock these jobs at some point. Oh, a potential pupil. Are you ready to roam the Schultz School of Martial Theory? Where's that dotted line? Such enthusiasm. We certainly welcome beginners. Ah, how positively rude of me. You may address me as Professor Erlin. As well as servicing in the operations staff here in the Necropolis, I teach martial theory to academic applicants in my capacity as a military scholar. And what is martial theory, you ask? In a nutshell, it's the study of applying tactics and strategy to ensure victory on the field of battle. The Schultz School of Martial Theory mainly focuses on the study of ancient military magic texts known as grimoires. The beauty of this approach is the effective incorporation of spells and incantations into the latest strategies and tactics. Yes, magic nerds, even worse than normal wizards. Pupils schooled in the Schultz martial theory are valued across Vanadiel as military tacticians. Allow me to demonstrate the dual nature of the grimoire. White magic? That was a white grimoire. And this, the black grimoire. Do I have your full attention now? Utilizing the teachings of the Schultz theories, one is able to switch between the two as the situation demands. Like white mage, but not like red mage, but not so limited. Oh, there won't be any exploding volcanoes. Trust me, no exploding volcanoes. What's the commotion? Professor Ulbrecht, when did you return? I must introduce myself to our guest. Must I introduce myself, Professor Erlin? Greetings. I'm Professor Ulbrecht, Chief Operations of the Republican Army of Bastok. From my observations, I'd say your interest was captured more by that flashy grimoire display than Professor Erlin's explanation of Schultz martial theory. I need to stop stumbling over words. I don't mean to criticize. It's natural for us to feel wonder at the things we do not understand. That curiosity is your ally. However, mastery of the grimoire requires more than simple enthusiasm. A pity, but I do not think you... Oh, enough of your ponderous blustering, Professor! The gates of knowledge must not be closed to one with a willingness to learn. Is that not a fundamental law of the Schultz School? Do not take the professor's flippant dismissal to heart. You will have your chance to learn. There are, however, certain requirements. You must understand that the grimoires are valuable tomes. I'm not seeking to deprive you of coin. There are other... Sheets of vellum. We have a dire shortage of sheets of vellum. Professor Ulbrecht, I'll thank you to not interrupt me. Have I misspoken? Do we not require this material in abundance? While the matter's not terribly urgent, I believe 12 sheets of vellum should cover our needs. You have your task. Altana's fortune smile upon you. Professor Ulbrecht, the applicant has yet to be processed. 12. Not one less. Professor! If you'll be so kind as to collect 12 sheets of vellum, I'll begin planning an exclusive curriculum for your introduction to martial theory. It's always interesting to get a little introductory cutscene like that. And honestly, I came prepared, because to get those sheets, I need stacks of Roland berries. And in fact, it's not too far to get to that location. But first, Turbulent Storm. We need to talk to you. Let's see. We know you played through the original Romancing Saga. Did you perhaps get the 7 Koopalings in Brutal Mario? Nice. Well, right there. You don't look like one of ours. That's true. An adventurer. Isn't that rich? Off chasing pixies while we're dying in the trenches. Why not make yourself useful for a change? Sign me up? What do you know? There might be something worth salvaging under that fancy armor of yours. Alright, the Republican Legion's 4th Division is currently undergoing some restructuring. They're accepting applications for new recruits. Hold on while I write you up a letter of recommendation. Here. Take this to Bastok and show it to Centurion Albrecht. Abelbrecht. You'll probably have to pass a few aptitude tests before they give you your stripes. But the Republic can't afford to toss away any meat before putting it in the grinder, so don't worry too much about failing. That's true. That would be. And that's it. And by it, I mean that's all I could help you with. You still have one hell of a trip. Roads to Bastok are crawling with ruthless beastmen scouts, just itching to add another notch to their axes. If you get spotted, you can always play the brave man and fight the scum, but the Republic needs live soldiers, not ones in body bags. Turn tail and run away, live to kill another day. That's my motto. He's not necessarily wrong. I didn't pick up the survival guide, did I, on the way in? No. That'll make it easier to warp around. That, I imagine it is more annoying. Ooh. That does sound awfully annoying. Oh, yeah, that would be annoying. Now, we're gonna wander over here, pick up this, grab the Atomos, and then we have to head back to Rollenberry Fields. Because we have to get to Bastok. And there's only a couple of ways to do that. Especially here in Wings of the Goddess. Oh, you haven't seen the half of it. That's true. I guess it's kind of the style of map. It's a very similar style of map. There we go. Then, like I said, we're going to grab this Adamos. And then we've got to get all the way around back to Rollenberry. By then, we should be able to pick up a sight of Juno in the distance, which is the big city that's... Okay, if you're unfamiliar with 11, there are 3 kingdoms across these continents. They have Bastok, the Republic of Bastok, Sandoria, the Kingdom of Sandoria, and Windhurst. These 3 have been at war for a long time. Technically, they're more city-states than, you know, cities, but nation-states. So they're nations. Right around the time period we're currently in, because we're currently in the past. I'm gonna spoil that. We're in the past. It's similar name. It's Jeuno. Oh, Leon would have loved that secret. Yeah, that was a wild dodge there we had there. But yeah, in the time period we're in, the Beastmen are all up in arms, quite literally, and are attacking. There's a big bad behind it. His name is the Shadow Lord. That's about as generic a name as you can get. There we go. And he led the Beastmen to nearly wipe out the nation-states. Nearly. Another nation-state, Juno, over here. A 4th one, which is basically the 4th one of the group. A neutral one. Came into existence and united the 3 nations together. And eventually they defeated the Shadow Lord. But it was a long, laborious process, and as we can see, sieges have happened. I mean, you can see that from the exploded shell fragments on the ground, the blasted trees. Like, as we were heading up here, you probably saw these trees and were like, wow, what happened here? Magic on a mass scale happened here. And these trees just never recovered. And this is just the history. This was called the Crystal War. So, we're currently in the era of the war. We've time traveled. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen that, Could be. That's a Void Watch officer. Ah, they're not gonna let us even get close to seeing Juno. But yeah, through that gate is the city of Juno. That's their flag and symbol. I might be able to get a view from the wall. Because Juno has a very interesting design. It doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like we can get a view from this... from here during this time period. A shame. I was looking for that gate entrance. Yeah, I remember Brutal Mario not being finished. I remember that. Yeah, I think I remember Brutal Mario not being finished. But it's been so long. It would definitely be a hard one. It would definitely be a hard one to do. It would definitely be hard to step up your game and go beyond that. Now we have one of the more annoying routes. Because, see this here? If you're not familiar with old maps, this means mountains. Mountains are not traversable. Which means we have to go the long way around this map. Oh, that would be wild. I'm not even sure the engines would even get close to supporting that, even with Super Mario ROM hacking being as advanced as it is. Yeah, it definitely has a very old, hand-drawn, older map style. Trust me, this is one of the more useful maps. But like I said, it doesn't show Crawler's Nest over here. It only shows this entrance and these connections. Not all your connections out of the map are shown, which makes it a very useless map. It's not the worst map in Final Fantasy XI. There are worse. A lot worse. And as we can guess here, Rolandberry it's farmland. This is farmland that has been invaded. Kinda definitely, I'd say, reminds me of France. By the way, I was not kidding about those caterpillars. Well, this is definitely not the game for you, because these maps, while there is fast travel, you have to unlock it on every map. Fortunately, the map shows you where that is. That's been the books we've been examining. But you still have to go there first. It is a lot of wandering around the map. And fast travel was not introduced into the game until, like, 2013. So, 8 years in to the game's lifespan, or something like that. But yeah, you can definitely tell that this farmland has seen better days. It is evidence of recent shellings and explosions. It's pretty badly beaten up. I'd say it's very reminiscent of a lot of depictions I've seen from, like, France in World War II. Especially as the, yeah. Oh, you have? What'd you find out? Also, Marlboros. Oh, really? And that sounds like something he would do. Yeah, the father in the fireplace. I remember that, yeah. That is just extremely rude of him. I think Crawler's Nest is over here. Ah, here we are, Crawler's Nest. I mean, he was always guaranteed to be evil, but ew, yeah, he's just not a fun guy. That's true, he is the only one. Now there's one reason and one reason only. We're in here and we're looking for... Tucker. Tucker. The only nice thing is, there's a nice scan system to find your NPCs. That's one of the only nice things that 11 has in it, because its maps get very esoteric. That's true. Yeah, the game wouldn't know what to do next. Anyway, this is the guy we needed to talk to trade in all those Roland berries. So you're Acnios, huh? And that's not all I know. Little bird tells me you need sheets of vellum. Well, okay. Wasn't a little bird. It was Professor Ulbricht, the loony in the tomb. He said I'll be getting a visit from a guy named Rachnius. And shave my mustache if he wasn't right. Anyway, I might be able to help you with your little task. Of course, it ain't gonna be for free. Here's the deal. I'll give you 1 sheet of vellum for every 12 Roland berries you give me. It'll take up to 4 dozen. I'll take up to 4 dozen at a time. That means 4 sheets of vellum for you. With the way those little scholars keep going through them, sheets of vellum are a gold mine for traders right now. I'll let them go for cheap if you ask me. I'll be right here when you're ready to trade the goods. Well, this particular guy, he definitely has that look about him. Brought the Roland berries? Fair enough. It's my side of the bargain. That could be a nice boost to my profits. Let me let you in on a little trader's secret as a little bonus. Crawler saliva has a preserving effect, you see. Those Roland berries that have been down here for years sell for ridiculous prices. That's why there's always been a market for them here in the nest. I came to buy Roland berries on my way back from business with a customer, but the fields have been ripped up in a scuffle between Federation forces and the turtle guys. Shipments were canceled. I was in a real pickle till you showed up, and now I've pickled Roland berries. I'm still taking Roland berries if you got them. Just keep rolling those beauties into my arms. Now, the thing he doesn't tell you is he will only trade 3 times. Meaning if you don't do the full 4 at a time, you're gonna not be able to have all your sheets of vellum. Thank you very much. Still taking rolling berries. If I can navigate correctly. Brought me the rolling berries? Fair enough. Here's my side of the bargain. Thank you very much. Uh-oh. Looks like I've run out of vellum. But thanks to you, I've built a handsome stockpile of rolling berries. I don't know how you managed to get a hold of that many. And I'm not going to ask. They're from 30 years in the future. You say what? Nah, keep your trap shut. I don't want to know. Be safe on your travels, and say hello to that nutty professor for me. But yeah, as I was saying, if you didn't do the full 4 at a time, you'd miss out on sheets of vellum. Granted, you can always buy vellum from the auction house, annoyingly, but that's going to cost you thousands of gil. Thousands. And that's assuming people are put them up to trade. There's no guarantee of that. Wait. There we go. I was gonna say, why are we walking slowly now? Oh, you know what would help? I forgot to put on my fast travel gear. Now we go slightly faster. Right. Wait, you were in kindergarten in 04? God, you're young! Oh, by the way, these are the turtle guys. These are some of the beastmen. The Kadav. Yeah, if you were in kindergarten in 04, ooh, I don't want to think about... That would make you 21 right now, give or take. God, you're young yet. I want to say how old I was in 04. Okay, I'll say this. I graduated high school in 07. Not entirely, well... Yeah, I'm mid-30s at this point. So, no, I've been around the block a time or two. Yeah, in 04 I would have been, let's see, graduated at 18. I would have been 14 or 15, I think, in 04. No, I'm actually what they call a millennial. Yeah, it would be pretty bad. That would be pretty bad. Yeah. Sometimes you get introduced in in weird ways, are things that are very useful. Very life-forming. Where's that book? There's that book. Huh, something smoking in the distance. That can't be good. I wonder what is on fire. We'll find out shortly. As we head to the Pashao marshlands. One of the locations the XIV have as their home base. The actual home base is down here. Where they call it Bordeaux. No, that would be a bit wild. Okay, the route we need to take is follow the main path, take a left. We'll hit up that Adamos and a home point. Pick up the Bordeaux entrance. Assuming it hasn't been blocked off. It's been a while since I've been to Pashao. Ah, yes, the giant slug creatures. The one nice thing about 11, and the reason I keep mounting up on the Raptor, is enemies actually can't attack you if you're mounted, if you're on a mount. It's one of the weird coding oddities in 11. It actually makes it quite easy to navigate once you get your first mount, which is the Raptor here. You definitely could have used with a bit more. Yeah, that's true. We definitely could have done with some more environmental specialities in Saga 2. Oh, definitely the cloudy weather. I definitely do. Yeah, for some reason, with me, cloudy weather just makes me happy. The opposite of what it does to a lot of people. Cloudy weather generally makes people very sad. But for me, it does the opposite, because I don't like it when the sun's out too much. It actually hurts my eyes, and I actually burn pretty easily. Especially having no hair. The top of your head burns very, very quickly. You'd be surprised how quickly the top of your head burns. That's also true. That is also true. Okay, the Adamos should be right ahead. There you are. My friend. Or do I have to transport through you? I might have to transport through them to activate them. It hath been a long time since I played any of Wings of the Goddess, and it was only like a couple of early missions on a completely different character. Although, as we saw in the Shadow Rain time, there definitely are times where it's not raining in the marsh here. Okay, so you actually have to activate and go through the son of a gun. I don't think I've seen a full video. It has been a long time since I've done any looking into Brutal Mario. Would have had to been about the time they were working, it was being worked on, I think. So that would have been like 08, 09, I think. Oh. What's a vertical conflux doing here? Yeah, I think I remember seeing that, now that you've mentioned it. Oh, incredibly easy prey. So these guys are probably level 75. Because I think, yeah, level 75 enemies are considered easy prey on a level 99 character. Yeah, they've got the entrance to Bordeaux over here blocked off. I mean, considering the tools at the time, that would have been a lot of programming to do. Yeah, and if you develop yourself into a corner like that, yeah, he could have very well developed himself into a corner and been like, how do I go from here? And that definitely is a thing. And burning yourself out on programming is a very easy thing to do, especially if you're having to develop the tools and the systems in order to be able to support what you want to support. It could get very, very tiresome very, very quickly. Also, look at these, like, 10-foot tall insects. Can you imagine living in this world? That insect is as tall as our character is on a mount. Can you imagine a 10-foot bug just flying around? Sometimes the Final Fantasy universes are just wild. It's like, can you imagine 3-foot insects? 10-foot bugs. 15-foot-long snakes, with legs nonetheless. It's just wild. Let's see. I should actually make sure we're going the correct direction into Grauberg. We are going the wrong direction. Because this is blocked off. Oh, those Kaiser ants? Yeah, that'd be wild. This normally has a connection to an area known as North Gustaberg, where Bastok is. Bastok is currently... that area is currently closed to us. Instead, we're looking right at it. We have to go this direction through a completely different location that only exists and is accessible here in the past. Welcome to Grauberg. I'm hoping I have a map for Grauberg. Because mostly I'm navigating by this here. That's true. Ah, right. I don't have the map for Grauberg. Fortunately, the wiki has a map. So I'm going to use this to navigate. We're currently at unknown map coordinates. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. Okay, so we're up here. Fortunately, the mini-map, which is an add-on, exists and will help me navigate. But it is very possible to get lost when you're only able to see, what's it, one map square around you? And as we can see here, looks like Bastok set up several palisades. Of bully? Huh, that'd be interesting. Because here's the thing about Bastok. They may be a republic. Never really played much bully, so I'm not as familiar with that reference as you would think. But Bastok, being a republic, is also, like, one of the most technologically advanced civilizations. They have cannons. Most other countries don't have cannons. Windhurst is mostly magic-based, so they rely on magic and their magical robots. And Sandoria is quite literally just a knightly kingdom. Swords and chocobos and things of that nature. Swords, chocobos, and knights. J7. Okay, we're still going the correct direction, I think. But clearly this is where Bastok made a lot of their defenses. They're not quite that advanced. That would be the ancient civilization that built those energy conduits. The Xylart. Or if you believe the 14 voice acting, the Zilart. They're Xylart. Compared to their other nations around them, they are advanced. In that they have vast civilizations. That they've got cannons, mostly. It's mostly that they have cannons and ships and a navy. They've got like the only navy in the world. Granted, Juno has an entire airship fleet, but that's because Juno is founded by the ancients who built those energy conduits. It's weird. The timeline's weird. the ancients are weird and that they're still around. It's weird. No, we're not quite gonna be that, no. We are the chosen one, and we've saved the world about, let's see, twice, thrice. We saved the world at least 4 times? Because we had the base game, the first and second expansions, the third expansion. This is the first and second and third. Yeah, this is the 4th expansion. Cicero? Yeah, I thought you might be referencing that. Also, look at this extremely angry, yet alive walking tree. If I weren't riding my mount, this thing would try and kill me. In fact, let's just let it do that now. It is a very, very angry tree. Unfortunately, I'm just a little bit stronger than it. Sometimes. That's true, we did fight a lot of trees. Well, regardless, once we get to Bastock, things will go much smoother and much quicker with the advancing of the story. This is like mostly just the one time you're going to be forced to do a lot of land navigation. It's very similar to what they did with in the base game. Which, like I said, considering most of these maps are just the same, but slightly remixed versions of the main map, yeah. It can be a little distracting. A lot of that's because, especially on this game, it's because this game is built on a PlayStation 2 game engine and was never meant to be on PCs of anywhere close to this level of power. Like, I've got my draw distance set to maximum. It's pretty extreme what things you can see in the distance just pop in. But because the game is 23, 24, 25? No, it came out in 2002. So that'd be 23 years old? Yeah, this game is older than you. Yeah, GTA can be obscene. It's not the most obscene one. I think that would go... One of the Call of Duty war zones was also exceedingly large, and I can't remember which one it was. And here we are in North Gustaberg? Yes, North Gustaberg. It says, yeah, there's the book. Because here's the interesting thing about Bastok. It is surrounded by this rock. It is quite literally just in the mountains. Very little grows in Gustaberg. It is mostly mountain. And very large mountains at that. Like, remember how I was saying about how a lot of the mountains can't be climbed? Not these ones. These ones can be climbed. Like this one, that's a very large mountain you can just climb. Granted, you have to go all the way up the path, which is very, very easy to get lost on, but you can do it. And you can also, I'll say again, many of these walls in the more modern time period in universe are broken down for misuse, or they served their purpose. Also, very interesting development on this map. It would be. Notice how on the map it just has this massive fault line here. Meanwhile, we just climbed up this ramp. In about 30 years' time, this entire ramp is gone. Meaning, if you want to go from this high area here to the low area here, you have to go all the way around through a second map. It is really weird. So it either this giant ramp here wore down over 30 years of time, or they blew it up. I don't know if they just I think they just blew it up. I think the XIV got a little too close to Bastok, and so they decided to get rid of the access point, and so they just blew up the ramp. Major inconvenience on their part. But when you're trying to defend your city from an invasion of very angry turtles, I guess that makes sense. I mean, it makes as much sense as anything else. I will say this, though. Jedi aren't the only ones in that universe who can jump very long distances. That's true. Yeah. Except that wasn't to spite their face. Well, we know magic exists, so I imagine he cast some type of earth or wind magic to do it. Now, normally, Bastok is accessible over here. Through this gate over here. Because Bastok is in the mountains. Bastok is basically Helm's Deep, but a city. But they've kind of closed that off, as you would want your main gates to be inaccessible to the enemy. Which means there has to be a secondary way into Bastok. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Huh. Oh, that would make sense. Yeah. Definitely issues there. No, they definitely didn't think of it as a soft lock. And now I need to remember how we get into Bastok. I think we just follow this little road here. And it leads us to a secondary entrance. Like a little side passage? No? Yeah, possibly. Still, it could just be an oversight. Thing you have to remember with Super Nintendo programming is, while it wasn't as bad as the NES was, because the NES you were programming in assembly, and you really couldn't test everything you programmed properly. Super Nintendo was pretty bad at times. Could be pretty bad at times. I know it's by the river. Or can we just walk in? I thought they had this gate closed. Oh, right! Because this is the entrance, this is the secret entrance. That's the main entrance of Bastok right there. Right, I forgot. This is their canal tunnel. Welcome to Bastok Markets in the past. As we can see, they have supply sheds all ready to go. And we're looking for Adelbrecht. He's in here somewhere. He's in this list somewhere. You could say that. This is their market district. Like, this is their normal market district. That's a magic shop. That's a jewelry store. That's a gem cutter. They even have a musician shop, as well as swords, armors, and general items, and an auction house. Also, their main governmental complex is over in this direction, but I don't think we have access to that. Bastok is one of the more interesting laid out cities. Yep. Straight up jeweler with a goldsmith. No, most definitely not nearly as pretty as Frosty. Also, player housing is over here too, if you wish to engage in that. Where is this guy at? There he is. He's over by the auction house. Yeah, I do remember you saying that. Now here's an interesting thing about Bastok in the past versus the future. This giant tower does not exist. This is a fountain. Sorry. And what do you want, Mr. Red Mage? Ah, he smiles at us. Right. There's a home point over here. Ah, there you are, Abel de Breck. Over here at the auction house. You normally don't see NPCs at the auction housing. At the auction house. It's very weird. Ah, greetings, civilian. The 7 cohorts of the Republican Legions, 4th Division is currently recruiting new troops. You interested? I'm your man. Good answer. Now hand over your recommendation. It seems everything's in order. Now we can begin the aptitude test. Alright, your mission is simple. We need someone to deliver these battle rations. Deliver them where, you say? You've seen those watchtowers out in Gustaberg, right? There's one called Edward, and manned by Centurion Gebhardt. Get those supplies to him safely, you're in. Any questions? Good. Dismissed. Also, despite the beastmen being at war, these goblins, they're technically beastmen, but they're not quite so bad. Yeah, Dentarg would definitely be the guy to do that. Now, here's something I didn't mention. I mentioned the 3 cities, right? Windhurst, Bastok, and Sandoria. And you probably heard the mention of Elven. And you see these big guys with their big tails. Each one of these cities is the home city of one, for lack of a better term, race of people. Bastok is where humans, and those big guys with tails come from. They're called Golka. And yes, I can say guys because there are literally no women. Golka are an entirely male species. It's weird. It's really weird how Golka exist and continue to exist. Sandoria are where the Elevan, or the elves, come from. They're the tall people with the pointy ears. We'll see them around sometime. And Windhurst is where the cat people, the Mithran, and the tiny, tiny people we might see called the Taru Taru are from. North Gustaberg. Let's see, he's over here. northern portion of the first floor of the hill. Oh. Well, yeah. The thing with a beast people like that, they don't necessarily have to have what we humans would consider standard male-female aligned either vocalizations or physical characteristics. Like, I imagine salamanders don't nurse their young, so that is an entire non-necessity. It's the same thing with Argonians. I've never understood why a lot of Argonians in the Elder Scrolls series have breasts. It's kind of weird. Now, granted, they do make there is an in-lore reason why they've come up with one, and that's they carry poison sacks. Quite literally, they're carrying poison around. Why Argonians? Of course, Argonians aren't also generally male or female. They have a cycle they go through. Argonians are weird in the Elder Scrolls. That's why I like playing as them a lot. For an Argonian, for a lizard people, that is very weird. For Wagnus, I guess Wagnus just wanted them. I don't know. Either that or he ate one too many birds. It's hard to tell. Or harpies. That's the right term. He ate one too many harpies. Either that or he just wanted them. Are you gonna tell the giant, flying Wagnus that he doesn't want them? I'm not going to tell him that. He could kill me. I'm going to be honest and tell you I have. And it is, sometimes very frightening. Hello, Gebhardt. Rations? Hand them over, rookie. Let's see. Biscuits, anchovies. Oh! Fairy apples! It's been ages since me and my boys last sunk our teeth into some of these. Oh, fresh fruit is so hard to come by these days, with the beastmen always ambushing our supply routes. Speaking of supply routes, you hear if those documents got to the Benedict Watchtower? What? You don't know what I'm talking about, do ya? Alright, I'll fill you in, rookie. But none of this leaves this place, you hear me? To the southwest of me, it's another watchtower. Only, unlike this one, the Benedict Watchtower periodically receives communications from headquarters. Why, you ask? Well, it all has to do with that prestigious tactician they've got locked up down there. Word is that he was convicted of some terrible crime, but his exceptional knowledge in beastman tactics has forced the president to relying on his advice when forming new battle strategies. Now I think about it, what if the citizens of the Republic were to find out about this? That the president was putting himself above the laws of our forefathers. In a time of war, distrust in our leaders is the last thing we need. If any of those communications were to fall into the wrong hands, all hell would break loose. Hey, I just got an idea. My duties bind me to this watchtower, but you're free to come and go as you please, right? Do you mind going down to the Benedict Watchtower and asking the Decurion Roderick if this week's communications arrived? That seems a little too... That man seems a little too... loose-lipped with secrets to be in a watchtower. I mean, I get it. Our character's a human, but we could be a Taru Taru. Or an Elevan. And you know what they say about loose lips? They sink ships. And while we might not be on a ship, we are, in fact, at war. I think he's a little too willing, that man's a little too willing to just give up government secrets. It's more about, I know how these types of stories are written, and it's like, I get that a lot of people need to give up their secrets in order to keep the player involved and up to knowledge on all these secret things, but it just seems a little convenient that he just wants to give up all of the governmental secrets. It's just suspicious is all. Very, very suspicious. Especially the part about the tactician. That is very suspicious. Why would I even need to know that? Why would anyone need to know that? Also, he's sending us basically to the other end of the world. That's true. That is true. Hello, Roderick. Centurion Gebhardt asked you to come all the way here and check on the status of the communication? Centurion's always worrying too much. We're 5 of the Division's finest, guarding the missive that makes its way here. Nothing could go... Decurion, I just received a call on the emergency link pearl line. A pair of turtlebacks ambushed the unit transporting the President's communication. Damn! Just as I was saying, it should never happen. What timing! The Metalworks has already dispatched another unit to retrieve the missive, but they've not been able to locate the perpetrators. Ugh. The unit is currently en route to the Turtleback stronghold to the northeast. They should arrive shortly. Wait, but what of the camp to the west? Have they dispatched a second unit? Due to the lack of intel on the side of the ambush party, our prefector... Yeah, that's one of those weird ones. Prefect. Our prefect felt it was too dangerous to divide our forces. But we need someone there now. Sir, yes sir, I'll get back onto the link channel and request another unit. And we'll just have to cross our fingers and hope they listen. Private's right. If the Metalworks hasn't sent anyone by now, means they've got no one to spare. That means we can only sit back and pray that our unit made the right decision. Because if they didn't, and that communication was taken to the western camp. campaign has begun. Specifically, I think it's a campaign over here. But as I've said before, I've got no interest in taking part in campaign, at least at the moment. He's worried that the missive, the communication, has been taken to the western camp. And the Khadivs have taken it that far. And he has every right to be scared of that. We should check that location. Also, look at how deep that canyon is. Look at how deep that ravine is. Bastok is a place of contrasts. It really is. And we see the Quadav have also put up barricades of their own. Just like the Bastokians have. Stop right there! I think you have something of mine. Now we can play nice. And you can hand it over, or we can play rough. Your choice, Turtleback. I think they just killed him. He chose poorly. Now, for the communication. Excellent. It seems to be in one piece. If this were to fall into the hands of their elite guard, we'd be paying for it in blood. Thank you for your help, soldier. If it wasn't for you, I might not have been able to catch the turtle before he crawled back to the pond. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, war movies are another one of those things where you can just kind of say that, oh, I think they just killed him. Yeah, with no emotion or even thought of consequences. And the impact a single death can have. After all, only in games and movies are there truly just nameless soldiers who really have no impact on anything really to speak of. Oh, absolutely. Exactly like Cyphrite. Okay. I just had to make sure I hadn't missed the entrance, because I thought I might have for a moment there. But I noticed I hadn't been to the river, so... Okay, now back to go talk to Abelbrecht. But before we do that, we actually need to buy something from the auction house. If the auction house is actually running. But I don't know if it is in this time period or not. No, it would appear not. So we'll just have to come to normal Bastock to use the auction house. Welcome back, rookie. I read the prefect's report. Seems you bought us some time by keeping the thieving turtleback company till the cavalry arrived. Well done. Your initiation is complete. Consider yourself the newest member of the Fighting Fourth. Here's your bronze ribbon of service to commemorate the occasion. Talk to the evaluation official Annabelle for the fine print. Now, for your real responsibilities, we need to get out there fighting in the Allied campaign. It's time to show those beastmen that we won't forget what they did to our brothers and sisters in Grauberg. Head over to the next window and speak to Engineer Aloris, soldier. That would be if we wanted to participate in campaign. Travel to another home point in the original area, Bastock Markets, the auction house. And now we get to see what Bastock looks like in the modern time period. It's mostly the same. Except, as I said, that giant tower is gone. Why is it gone? I still don't know. That seems like an awful lot of work to just, you know, get rid of something for no reason. Please sort these by alphabetical. We're looking for Knoll Claws. They're running 23,000, give or take. That is a lot of gil. Okay, and blind bidding. This is the annoying thing about the auction house in 11. You've got to blind bid an item. You don't know what the price is that someone said they wanted to sell them at. And it doesn't round down, so you can overpay easily on an item. Alright, let's try 22.5. There we go. Yeah, these little guys are the Taru Tarus. They are tiny. And sometimes that's what it feels like. That is sometimes what it feels like. Can you imagine the reason you tear down a tower as big as this just to replace it with a fountain? Like, the amount of work that would take is just ludicrous. It just doesn't make any sense. Now, specifically, we need to find a guy named Wolfram. Wolfram. Where could you be, Wolfram? Bottomless Gorge. Honestly, the Gulka get great names. Roaring Badger. Gentle Tiger. Like, they get great names. They really do. Angry Bull. Scared Shark. Rusted Musket. No, Hippo Man would be quite good. I think we just have to exit, because I think Wolfram might just be a character in a cutscene. I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, Hippo Man is also an amazing name. And then you have ones like here, like Rolf. Millard. Waldemar. Invincible Shield. Just Golga get the best names. They really do. They really, really do get just amazing names. I was right. Solitary ant. Are you all right, soldier? Yeah, that's a lot of blood. Yeah, someone help over here. Take this to a man named Engelhardt. Get him to a medic. Golga tend to have, in what I can't say voiced cutscenes in this game because they don't have them, but in Final Fantasy XIV, there's a raid that basically takes place in this, and there's voice acting there. Golga tend to have the deep, raspy voices. You should look it up. The Shadow Lord fight in Final Fantasy XIV and hear the voice they chose for that one. And that's like, that's a voice, alright. Not quite the raspiness of it, but the deepness of it. And of course, the Taru voice they have in that raid, it sounds like this. Kind of this deep, this kind of very high-pitched and kind of whiny voice. It's like, why did you choose that voice? Like, why would you choose that voice for that character? Well, not quite that high, but you get the idea. So I try and keep within the vocal ranges I can do while paying homage as best I can and keep the characters distinct. Yes, actually, in fact, I would not be surprised if it was, in fact, Sean Chiplock. Can I help you with something? Clump of animal hair. Ah, so you're the replacement. This is a difficult item to procure. Certainly live up to your recommendation. Our client will be pleased to work with one of your caliber. And how shall I address you? Ah, Rachnios. Fine name indeed. Very well, Rachnios. The client is expecting you at the waterfall in North Gustaberg. Do not keep him waiting. What have we just gotten ourselves wrapped into? Like, we know nothing about this client, the job, the pay. What's all involved? Are we perhaps betraying the state of Bastok already, and we just got enrolled as a soldier? Are we already betraying the Republic? Because they're being super shady about what's going on. Who the client is. It is highly suspicious what's going on. Looks like Sandoria's doing both good and bad in the campaign, based on the updates that keep scrolling. Yes, let me cross the bridge. It could be someone like Dentark who just wants to absorb our strength. Or it could be that strange cat that magically appeared out of nowhere. Or it could be anything. The client could be a crab. Or could be a turtle. Oh, he would definitely not look too out of place in this setting. But then again, few things would. And this is a setting with flying airships. And lasers that can shoot them down. Again, Final Fantasy is weird with what it does and doesn't allow in. I think... Trying to think of the good spot. I think I know a good spot to call it. We got a little bit yet. Ah, there it is. I was looking for this question mark. Greetings. I am Werner, the Senator of Defense. And you must be Ragnios. Engelhardt tells me you are a man to be trusted. You look surprised to see a man in my position. It will give you some idea of the gravity of the task at hand. You're about to become involved in a confidential matter that will affect the very fate of this nation. No, of all allied nations. Your discretion must be absolute. Your predecessor chose to ignore this warning, and subsequently lost my hard-earned trust. Engelhardt will tell you what became of him. I trust you will not give me the same difficulties? Ah, I see you are a soldier in the Republican Army. And your division? Ah, the Fighting Fourth. Prefectus Zazarg is an excellent commander. Have no fear. The task you're about to perform will not conflict with the interests of the Empire, of the Republic. I don't know why I called us an empire, we are a republic. You will return to serve under Prefectus Zazarg once your task is complete. Now, here's the situation. I've ordered a Zephut through Lidvow, a goblin that resides on the Gulvan Isle in Vukarl Inlet. You're simply required to pick up the instrument. Payment has already been made. Once you have the Zephut, you are to deliver it to Engelhardt. All further remuneration and communications will pass through him. We also suspect that a certain faction is... Senator! We've been followed. It was a Golka, I believe. A spy? Where is he now? I'm afraid I lost him. I've never seen a Golka move so fast. It must be another one of Chairman Pale Eagle's men. Chase him down! Even if it means your life, we must capture that spy. Sir. The waterfall was wise choice for this meeting. I doubt the details of our conversation were compromised. As I was saying, there's a certain faction that hinders our actions. Be on your guard. Now, I say that the Golka and the Humes both hail from Bastok. Technically, that's right. But it would be more accurate to say the Humes hail from Bastok, and the Golka are used as a underclass, specifically for mining and moving of very large objects, and as muscle. There is a lot less equality than you would think. Okay, we are looking for... Batilla Downs, I think. Because I believe we have to head through the Junger Forest, which is just to the south here. Okay. Where do we get... Okay, so it's an unknown split off over here. Because though it doesn't look it, the forest is split off here into a zone for over here, and then another one that's over here that goes through here, and one that goes through here. This is one of the more split maps in the past here. And for something they call a forest, I'd say this is more bayou than anything else. It's their willow tree attempts that really give that distinction to me. That and the mossy textures on the trees, it feels more like a bayou than anything else to me. It's not quite swamp, but it is still pretty wet and dank. And I do not possess a map, so once again we are navigating by both online map and mini-map. And it is thunderstorming out in the game. Not in real life. That was yesterday. This inlet definitely is occupied by someone. Someone lives and builds here. Violence has happened on this bridge as of recently. Either that or a massive thunderstorm happened. I doubt it was all these crab. But one never knows. It could have been this crab that did it. All of these crab. Well, what one would that be? That could be a great many number of them that, Oh, God, not that one! I'm still upset that that one became as popular as it got. He's just on the other side of this gate. You came for the Zifoot? Well, it's ready. It's a hell of a job getting a hold of it, though. I think I deserve a little bonus. You bring me an old claw, you'll get the Zephyr. Oh. Oh, that's true of a great many things we listened to growing up. Got the Knoll Claw? Here's your Zipfoot then. The Gigas love those Knoll Claws. They'll tell me all sorts of secrets now. Lad of I was their little buddy. And I'm going to take the easy way out and just warp out of here. Thanks to the warp rings they added some time ago. It was either 2012 or 2013. There's been a lot of good quality of life in 11 that they've added. It's just a shame it took them so long to do. Like, I imagine if half the quality of life that the game has in it now had been in the game at launch, Final Fantasy XI might have stuck around as a major player in the MMO market. Maybe. Yeah, those lyrics. Oh, it's no longer blue in Bastok. Bastok is no longer blue. I think more often than not, we'll see Bastok in a nice shade of night blue. I don't know why, but it seems to happen a lot in Wings of the Goddess. From my limited experience with it, that is. You have brought the Zephyr? Excellent. The Senator will be pleased. Did you experience any trouble? Senator Werner was trailed by one of Chairman Pale Eagle's spies? Chairman is a senior member of the Republican government, appointed to his position by President Preen himself. He often clashes with Senator Werner in matters of military policy. I don't know what schemes the chairman has in motion, but you would do well to keep an eye out. Oh, there's one more thing I meant to ask. You're not the agent I was expecting, are you? I was told to welcome the one who brought me a clump of animal hair. Wasn't until later I discovered the real agent had collapsed at the gates of the city. If the Senator should realize I've introduced him to the wrong operative, it's not just my neck on the line. The Senator's a very thorough man. You must continue to accept Senator Werner's tasks as if nothing were amiss. Their continued well-being, not to mention mine, depends on it. A chance meeting has landed you right in the thick of things, my friend. Feeling we'll get to know each other very well, indeed. I have your remuneration. Juno currency. Untraceable. A warning letter was pressed into your hands. And 10,000 gil. You know, half the price of that Knoll Claw I bought. Now, unfortunately, like a lot of quests in the previous expansion, we now have to wait an in-game day. currently 4 p.m. in game. It's got to be at least midnight. Fortunately, remember how I said that there was Scholar to unlock? We should finish that, while at the same time unlocking the other job that was made for Rings of the Goddess. Dancer. Yes, Dancer. As weird a job as Dancer can sometimes be. Anyway, I'm here changing my main job to Red Mage for one specific reason. And that is for the ability I have Chain Spell. We're gonna need that to finish unlocking Scholar. Because we have all the Vellum we need. And we need to get to a survival guide for an easy teleportation. Because that'll give us plenty of time to finish that. And Dancer actually doesn't take long to unlock or need anything special either. It's in the Norvellan front? Yes, the Necropolis. Spin to teleport. Forgot to activate these, and this was a... Let's see, it should be in... Content? No. Tutorial. Achievements. That's the one. No, it's for level 30. I know there's a thing in here for unlocking jobs, and I don't remember where it is. Whatever. That's not a big deal. You could say that, yes. But not always. Yeah, I've heard about those. Yeah, I've heard about those. Yeah, you could say that most of the unlocking these jobs is easier than real life, but one of the jobs has you kill 100 enemies with a level 1 sword before you unlock the job. Dark Knight is a hell of a drug. The sheets of vellum. Excellent. While I'm still rather irked at Professor Ulbrecht's imposition, it's true we scholars can never have enough vellum in stock. I've already prepared your grimoire from our available supplies, of course. Inside, I've inscribed a curriculum on which to base your studies. Your grimoire is both a magical tome and a tactical manual. A military scholar fights with both intellect and knowledge. This book will be your weapon. Just don't use it as an actual weapon. It is quite fragile. Tell me, what are the two main schools of magic? Yes, white and black magic. Their natures are diametrically opposed, leading most practitioners to focus on one school or the other in order to attain true mastery. However, we scholars learn the laws of magic are as a single theory, and thus overcome the disadvantages inherent in specialization. In simple terms, we're able to utilize the full potential of both forms of magic, unlike you silly red mages. From a tactical point of view, a scholar can choose the incantation most suitable for the task at hand, regardless of school. That is the strength that lies at the heart of the Schultz School of Martial Theory. Trademark. But rather than listen to me drone, you would be better served by reading the grimoire and experiencing the theory for yourself. One learns faster through doing. Yes? Very well. Let's have you read the first page while producing an arcane tap effect. This manifestation of arcane energy will trigger the astral properties of the grimoire and empower the words within. It will also serve to attune the tome to your personal astral signature. An arcane tap effect is somewhat different to the sudden burst of magic provided by spells such as fire. It's a steady stream of magical energy. Both Mana Font and Chain Spell are examples of arcane tap effects. How else can I explain? Yes. While similar, Benediction does not produce the required energy. The magical power of such abilities dissipate at the accumulation of spellcasting. Do you understand the difference? Now, initiate whatever arcane tap effect is available to you. Open the grimoire to the first page in order to complete the attunement process. Better terms, in simpler terms, magic is accumulated and then dissipated as cast. The tap effect is long-lasting and lasts after the cast. Everything else is a build-up to release of energy. Congratulations on entering the Schultz School of Martial Theory. Professor Ulbrecht. No need to steam up your glasses, Professor Erlin. I'm merely here to pick up the sheets of vellum. Ah, here we are. Splendid! Were you aware that the history of magic stretches back 600 years? During that time, the rapid evolution of magical research has produced a myriad of spells and incantations. However, the effective utilization of these spells has never been subject to a thorough academic inquiry. These so-called mages have been so infatuated with their own power that they never spent the time to meditate on the method of its use. In this respect, their ignorance equals that of the common military scholars, who, on the other hand, have ignored the existence of magic in their strategies. And that is where the Schultz school of martial theory breaks away from the pack. In this age of stunning magical revolution, we are the only school to fuse arcane mystery and modern military tactics. A stunning ovation indeed. But a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. Do you recall that lesson, Ulbricht? Professor Schultz! The roads are not safe. How did you... Pleasure to meet you again. To see you again, Eileen. Ulbricht. A resourceful general employs his enemies as well as his allies. I merely hopped in the back of a passing beastman supply caravan and alighted near my destination. Same old Professor Schultz. I believe introductions are in order. Erling, if you might do me the honor. This is Professor Gunther Schultz, founder of the Schultz School of Martial Theory. He is a hero of Bastock, a type of genius that was born once a century. Erling, my name and title would have been sufficient. I'm but a member of academic society, nothing more. And who do we have here? Rachnios, is it? In this world of chaos, there is always an avenue to salvation. In one age, that salvation may take the form of a brilliant, charismatic leader. In another age, an immensely powerful weapon. Oh, I've been through about 5 cough drops at the moment. It's why Final Fantasy XI sometimes takes weeks off when the voice is just not up to snuff. I've done worse voices, though. I've done worse voices that have severely hurt for like days afterwards. However, I believe the key to ending this war will be the knowledge and actions of those who have mastered the arts of the military scholar. Oh, it would cost way too much of a budget. That is my firm conviction. And I'm certain a day will come when you will hold the same belief. But listen to me ramble. I have no time to be delivering lectures. The Schultz School of Martial Theory encourages practical application. Only through testing your strategies in the heat of battle will you grow as a scholar. Rachnios, do not lose yourself in the power of the grimoire, but look within yourself for the direction you must tread. Now, if you'll excuse me. Anyway, as I was making a joke about hitting people with your book, the first Final Fantasy game that introduced scholar was actually Final Fantasy III. And the funny thing about 3, that is also very true. The funny thing about scholars in Final Fantasy III is like, the funny thing is, they were what's called a magical melee class. They had elemental books, and they hit things with their books. Yes, they had spells, but primarily their purpose was to hit things with the book. It was quite funny. Anyway, off to Juno for the other job, which I said was dancer. I mean, Batilla Downs is off that direction. This is the main thoroughfare of Upper Juno. Yeah, teacher's assistants especially useless. Up there is Rulude Gardens, where the government of Juno, specifically the Archduke, tend to reside. Yes, dancer. It's just what happens. Wings of the Goddess introduced scholar and dancer. What would ye be wanting with me? And I don't want to hear any nonsense about your desire to become a dancer in the troupe Brilloth. I surely do. Not another one. Listen here, I've handpicked every member of Troupe Brilloth for reasons of style and grace. This is no melting pot of entertainment like a certain Troupe Valenio. I can't be letting every heavy-footed Gulka and rhythmless Hume that walks in the door. No, she most certainly does not. If it's dancing lessons you want, go ask your auntie. Never. You're a stubborn lad, to be sure. Tell you what, if ye can bring me a Stardust Pebble, I'll rethink me stance. And what kind of rock is that, ye ask? That's for you to find out. And again, that's the quest. That's all the direction you're given. Like, everything else from here, I'm going specifically by the guide here. Okay, so she wants that. Well, who would you talk to get more information on that? Well, possibly this Mithran over here. Looks like she might know what's going on. I doubt the Golka talks much to her. I overheard you speaking with Lelia. So you think you can dance? You'll have to show that you're absolutely committed before she'll even think about taking you under her wing. Maybe I could ask Lalia for some hints about the Stardust Pebble. But how can I be sure you're really serious? I know! Have you heard about the Lion Springs Tavern in Sandoria? If you have the courage to stand on that stage, to dance on that stage, it will prove to me you have passion for performance. Oh, what do you have equipped, my good sir? You have... that. And a Manessus. Interesting choice, my interesting sir. Oh, he's a blue mage. That's blue mage gear. Interesting, sir. Now, this is the kingdom of Sandoria, where the Elevan, or elves, live. That'd be these lanky sons of guns. Look at how long their arms are. I mean, look at that arm length. It stretches to their knees. I'll never get over how long their arms are. Ah, you, good old barman. Welcome to the Lion Springs. Do you wish my permission to dance on stage? Why, I've not had dances here since the troupe Brilloth graced us with a performance. As I recall, my customers were riotously appreciative. Their cheers shook the very walls of the tavern. You sure you're a dancer? It's just that you seem so nervous. Well, I suppose even professionals have the jitters every now and again. Allow me to prepare the audience. Now's your chance to capture the heart of the audience. Your dancing style was quite unique. You know, I'm not sure my establishment is the right place for such an original performance. Now we go back to Juneau. It's an original area. Upper Juneau, not Lower Juneau. Now, the most interesting thing that you've seen so far is nothing has required us to go to the Shadow Reign era, the past. Yet. Everything's already been in the normal areas. That is going to change shortly. If I can ever target the correct person. Targeting an 11 is probably the worst part. That must have been some performance you put on in the Lion Springs. News of your unique dancing style made it all the way to Juneau. Well, I guess I have to keep up my end of the deal and tell you what I learned about the stone. Hate to break it to you, but finding a Stardust Pebble might be close to impossible. 20 years ago, Stardust Pebbles could be found lying at the bottom of Lake Mechium in Yugnir Forest. But their dazzling glow made them such a collector's item that not a single one remains there today. I believe our merciless leader has set you on a task that can't be completed. I'm saying this within earshot. She can hear me. Clearly she can hear me. It's a shame. While you still lack the skill, you certainly have the spirit of a dancer. Now, 20 years ago, it was either 20 or 30, I cannot remember offhand, when the war started. But regardless, we've got access to a time period when the war was going on. We should be able to find one of those pebbles in the past. So off we go back to Jugnir Forest. Actually, looking at the time we have left, I think after we unlock Dancer is where we're going to have to call it. I thought we might have a little more time. But I think we will have to call it after we unlock Dancer. No. That we will not. We won't have to worry about time skips. I know it's around here somewhere. There it is. While you're in proximity to the very aggressive crabs, you find a sparkling stone.
Well,
Isn't this a pretty little thing? I have to take one home with me. What are you gawping at? I don't give out autographs. You've no idea who I am? Not everyone appreciates the arts, I suppose. I'll be quitting the dancing game soon. Anyway, I'm meant to practice as we speak. All my days have been filled with dance. I find it hard to remember why I even started. Dancing never used to be such a chore, and it made me mother and father so proud. But now... Huh? What a lovely lift and melody. I've never heard the pipes played so well. I feel so light all of a sudden. I feel like I could float right off the ground. We have encountered her in the past as a young child. I never knew I could enjoy dancing just for the sake of dancing. No cheering audience. No doting parents. You're fortunate, you know. I usually perform for lords and ladies. Now, where'd that pipe player go? Sure, and that was a sweet song.
Milady!
Farrar!
Thank Altana I found you safe and sound. If anything should happen to you, my honor would be irrevocably stained.
Farrar, how'd you manage to lag so far behind me with those long elephant legs?
Oh, absolutely, that sounds extremely suspicious without context. Yes, exactly. My apologies, milady. It shan't happen again. Though...
I suppose I should be thanking you.
Thanking me, milady?
I was on the verge of giving up everything. The only reason I wanted to see the stone to the lake was to escape from dance practice. If you hadn't agreed to sneak me out, I might have thrown away my dancing forever. Farrar,
Farrar. It's pronounced Frenchly, so I don't know how that's actually pronounced.
I've decided to give dancing another chance.
Milady, I shall do everything in my power to see your dreams come to fruition. Let us return to the estate.
And now, we have the pebble. Now, I didn't explain when I used warp last time, but this is up in Relude Gardens. That is the actual Archduke's main palace over there. The embassies of the 3 nation-states are down there. Because Juno is one big circle in the sky. That is clouds We are technically above the clouds. Juno is very weird and tall, and laid out weird. No, it does not make any sense why it is so large, but that is what Juno is. Anyway, we're now backing up our Juno. I think we might have a multi-boxer over there. Multi-boxing is a term used for when one person is playing multiple characters at the same time. It's actually fairly common in 11 for people to be doing that, though they really are not supposed to, so everyone remains quiet about that. Okay, Lila. Here's your pebble. You here again? You brought me a Stardust Pebble? If you think you can trick me with some painted piece of... Where'd you get this? And I suppose you're wanting me to hold me to my word, are ye? Well, you're up to the task, and no mistaking. Welcome to Troop Biloth. You know, I have another Stardust Pebble, but it's light faded years ago. Looking at this rock remind me of the day I learned the true joy of dancing. I can still hear the sound of the pipes. You look awfully familiar for some reason. That can be. Now, before you begin training, let me tell you something about the origin of our dance. It's a martial style based on the traditional Bestokian Kriegstanz, a dance used in actual battle. Of course, we learned how to adapt its martial style into a form suitable for performances. But first, you'll have to work on the basic martial movements. Rhea, show this Ricky the ropes. I think we just got beat up. And now your body's been conditioned to the fundamental movements of the Kriegstanz. Don't just stand there scuffing your feet. I expect you to spend every spare moment practicing these moves. Biloth only accepts the best. And now Dancer has been unlocked. And with that, today's Final Fantasy XI comes to an end. We've begun Wings of the Goddess, and it's weird. I don't want to say weird, but it's unusual 3-nation split quests. And this is the only expansion that does that. But the base game also had a very similar based on your nation state of origin, so that's definitely a thing. So they definitely brought that back from the base game, so next stream will be Friday's stream, which is Shinobi Art of the Vengeance, a demo for a platformer that gives me a lot of Ninja Gaiden type vibes. See how good I am with that, see if I still have the dexterity in the hands to be pretty decent at those or not. That's the problem when, as you get older into your 30s, your hands start to lose the dexterity they once had. Don't ever grow old, people. After that, we're going to have Turok on Saturday. I should have both of those waiting rooms up. And next week is going to be the beginning of Spooktober, as I call it. I don't remember where I stole that name from, but I stole it from somebody. So most of those streams will be Resident Evil 8 with demos on the spooky side. We'll see you next time.